Okay, doing some more painting today. Got two things here I was considering working on. An Audrey II and a DuckTales style money bin. I think I'm going to need to work more on my Audrey II design, so I'm going to go ahead and do the money bin for now. So I am going to need, if I can get a hold of it here, some black, and my first palette pod, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to need maybe a little bit of burnt sienna. Probably not much, but might be a little bit of shadow around the money bin. I will need both a dark green and a light green. More light than dark, but I always tend to go overboard with how much paint I put out anyway. So put the light green over here. So this will be for the grass and the bushes. I'm going to need some blue, red, yellow, and white. I don't probably need more than that. Probably not. I hope these aren't expensive paints because I will run through them pretty quickly. That's going to be a bit of a red and a purple. So we'll put the red over here. Way too much red. I don't know if the red is more liquid or what, but we'll put the purple with it because that's going to help color the round cap on top of the money bin. Again, I don't know how to make gold paint with these 12. So that's going to be an interesting little challenge for me. Our white will go a couple different little pads of white at the top. Again, probably more than I need, but I want to try something new with color separations. So, I've got my general color guides here. I don't need all of those because I pretty much know what's going to go where. So I can erase some of my mapping. That's ivory. All right, clown colors. Okay, so the biggest part of this is going to be the money bin itself, but that's the one I don't really know how to handle. But, so do we want to do, no, outlines will come later. So let's see how we want to handle, we'll do some color experimentation first. So our little scratch pad sort of thing. We test our different colors. So this would be, that's not unreasonable to start, but let's do something else for the color mixing. Okay, soften our brush. You know, what looks to be a fair amount of lingering yellow from yesterday's Hornhead Madball. Get this guy clean if we can. The exciting part of painting is realizing how poor of a job you did cleaning your supplies the day before. All right, so that's good enough. So we want some white. And just probably a little bit of blue. That's too much. Let's keep putting the white in there and lighten that up. We don't want a blue money bin. We want a white money bin. That's great for some shadows, but again, not what we want. Maybe yellow would have helped make a cream color. There we go, that's a little bit better. That's blue, but not too dark. I can accept that. Maybe a little bit more white. Come on, let's really lighten this up. White with just a tint, a hinty tint of blue. All right, let's go ahead and turn our table on to help map things out. So we have a little bit of an issue from the brush itself, where we got some thickness where we don't necessarily want it. A little bit of water. Back to our palette. We are going more for the cartoon aesthetic as opposed to the comics, if that's a distinction that people will allow me. We'll come back through there in a little bit and get those little security windows. Yeah, just nice and wet on the brush for this piece here. There we go. Come across the top here. What are those little things called? Not a portcullis. Not a trebuchet. That's like a catapult. The little tops. I guess they used to go around the windows or spaces where people would shoot arrows. The little peaks at the top of a turret and such. So that's okay for this back wall because it is in shadow. We want even lighter. So, you know, hey, we might be using all of this prearranged white here that we had just to get a decent face on the money bin. But hey, that's how we learn. And this whole project is all about me trying to learn how to do watercolors. It's not a situation of me knowing how to do watercolors by any stretch of the imagination. You know what? Yes, I accept this. I got a little sound, a little brushing across the water. Back into our lighter palette. I can erase that center line. Give me a little bit more clarity. Oh, don't get too much paint on my hand because that will go right back on the painting if you're not careful. And I am frequently not careful. The reason I am doing these things as opposed to something equally as satisfying like cross-stitching and such. One of them is I like the freedom of how I'm painting. I really do. Just kind of sketch these out a day or two in advance, and then I can just do it however I want. Also, it's a bit more immediate than cross-stitching, which seems, to take forever to get to an end product. Whereas this, I can have a full painting in just a couple hours. I think the Hornhead Madball up there. Yes, dear.
You just throw away this dehumidifier that doesn't work.
We can either throw it away or I can take that part out to make it run all the time. Hey.
Hey.
I am streaming some paint.
Okay, well, I need you to decide.
Okay, I'll take care of it.
I don't want to have it in my room.
Just sitting there taking up space,
Right.
and when you have another one there, it's actually working.
Yeah.
I got you.
Because I want to try to get my clothes put away and stuff.
Okay, I'll take care of that today.
I'm going to start trying to put together an inspiration board for my suite.
There you go. I can dig it.
There's a really cute chair at West Elm.
I like that.
For $300, and it's on clearance. It was $600.
Oh, we got to figure out what we're doing. And do we want a bed in there?
Okay, can I tell you about that chair?
Tell me about the chair.
The chair is like a distressed light pink velvet.
Yeah.
It's very cute.
I'm gonna need a little bit of extra
We might be
white.
charging a chair.
Chair charge.
Yeah.
Chair charge la thing.
It's real cute.
Well, I'm glad. I'm going to need some more white paint here eventually, I'm sure. But let's go ahead and get a little water on the brush. No real harm in having that there, so let's get the light green. Nice. Come on, scoop that up there with the white. Not bad. Let's test it out. That's just about perfect. Get some water on that boy. I think in comparison to the tons of detail work that was required on Hornhead, I think this one will probably be relatively quick. But, famous last words and all that. Get a little bit more water on that, thin that out. Alright, so we're going to make the rest of the path here. I'm being a little bit hasty, but I think it'll work out all right. How do I want to approach that side? There we go. You can always cognizant of being a righty here. It does affect how I pull the brush. Like I said yesterday, always pulling the brush, never pushing. we will soften this with just an over brush of water later on. And even though I am painting a DuckTales inspired picture here, the song I have stuck in my head is actually the Gummy Bears theme song. You know, dashing and daring, courageous and caring, all that stuff. So here's something I need to know. Because I try this and it has mixed results. I want to try and, like I said, I want to smooth those lines out so they're not so severe. What is the best way to do so? Is it brushing with, across? I don't know. Like I said, if I ever get to take actual lessons, that's going to be one of the questions I ask. How do I conceal some of the brush strokes? My current plan or approach. Get in there. Thank you. Just to brush off the page. So, right now we've got kind of a bluish money bin, which is not the color one, but it's fine. And some green grass. We'll get a little bit of the darker green for the bushes. Clean out our brush here. This one, yes, that's got our green on it. So we're going to go into the dark green little water here, get that thinned out, and a little bit of the light green together. Alright, so this brush is entirely inappropriate for this task. I'm trying to get as much back off this brush as possible. Might as well use some of what we got it. But we're going to go for a fine brush to get the detail in these bushes. Yeah? Same thing here. I want to get fine detail. Almost went out. To mark the line separating that bush from the horizon. So I think it's about really all we can get effectively out of this brush without going into some risky behaviors. So I'm going to go ahead and clear him off. Yeah, that's a lot of paint. Oof. Like I said, paint management is another skill I have yet to master. We will get there. Cleaning him a little bit. We'll hit more on that later. We need a fine brush. We'll take this one here. That's pretty good, right? Nice and wet. I got like 15 bucks. All right, so we got to do a little bit of a. Let's go ahead and start making these bushes. Just kind of. This is the definite Bob Ross portion of the show. Just go ahead and make yourself all those happy little trees, right? them, just let them come off the brush. Let them tell you where they want to go. Of course, I'm not being quite so freeform with it. I am following my initial guides. I do like, well, not so much because that's very stark, but I do like we are getting some color gradations here, some variegation, if you will. Here we go, going to that one just over the horizon, or the hillside, if you will. There we go. Again, pretty basic, but we're coming along. We're going to need a dark blue wash down to a lighter blue for the background. Let's go ahead and start with the red. Darn it, I have a little bit of, there, they want to get brought back into the fold. That'll work. All right. Clean off the green boy. Green dog. So he's good. So the red, it's not a pure red. We want a bit of purple. So I have way too much purple down here. Excuse me. Let's use this Mondo Llama brush. Looks pretty cheap. This is a Target Arts and Crafts project brush. Want more red than purple. Back to our scratch pad. That's fine. Kind of hard to tell that even, you know, there is a color there, but there is. I promise. This is probably not the brush we actually want to be using. Fine for mixing, but I do not trust this brush actual painting. So why are you still doing it, you big dummy? That is a question for the ages. The world may never know. Maybe because you don't want to, you hate to waste paint when you know you waste so much paint. Yeah, I can't trust that guy anymore. Should have left a spot at the top for a highlight. But we can come back to that. Maybe I'll do a bit of a cover up with some white on the top. Let's get another fine point brush. Get our red. A delicious combination of both thickness and wetness. enter your own jokes here. And again, it doesn't have to touch everything just perfectly because of the style that I have, or that I am developing, is very outline heavy. Again, perhaps influenced by comic books. Less naturalistic, but again, it's a cartoon duck's giant fortress of gold coins, so I don't think, I don't think naturalistic is our primary concern. You know? Alright, so that, gold cap on top. That's really all we need of the red. So again, all that red and purple for that. Unnecessary. Still fairly basic, but we'll get where we need to. The part that scares me is the gold. So let's go ahead and approach it, Why be too afraid? And we can just dive in. Yeah. Pick these up here. Some brushes on the other side. The most important part of an art stream, reorganizing your workspace. And again, what a tragedy. Picking up paintbrushes with your toes and then going to fetch your paper towels. Okay, so we got some red on here. Let's get that out as much as we can. Pretty good. So how a little bit of brown. Yeah, it looks like a little bit of brown for parts of it. Let's start with just gold at the tops, huh? That is a very Ronald McDonald yellow. And here's the thing. Most everything else I've done so far has had dark enough paint to cover up my draft lines. This is a very light and airy picture. So we've got a lot of lines still showing. I've never had to erase much after we've painted. So I'm not sure how this one's going to come out. So again, perfect for us, as this gives us a brilliant opportunity to learn how watercolors and mechanical pencil graphite interact. Yes. Again, with this being a relative quickie, again, I am anticipating maybe we'll have time to do some more sketching, maybe even get started with Audrey II, since we've got so much green on our palette. So, like, starting to look like a money bin. This dollar sign at the top, I'm going to try and fade it out. I'll still leaving enough reference for me, but I don't know how it's going to work out. You can see where I even had the roof lines drawn in. We shall see. We shall see. A little bit of brown with the yellow. That's going to need some more water. That brown's already like solidified. Alright, that's a lot of brown. Not a lot of yellow. Take it from this side. Brown is definitely winning that fight. There we go. We're getting a little bit more of the yellow as we thin this out. Some water in there. A little bit more. All right, let's see what that looks like. Oh, that's not bad, actually. I'm not doing a great job here of identifying light sources. Trying to make this look somewhat three-dimensional is a challenge as well. I like this. This is okay. Definitely money binish. So I'm going to need the yellow brown off of that fella. Oh, actually I need a little bit more, don't I? I'm going to get the entryway. And that will get further defined by the black. Looks a little bit janky right now, but I know exactly where I'm going with that for once. So let's go ahead and go back to the old white well. Need some more white. I have another set of gouache, guaca, wiki. I'm not really sure how to deal with those. So this once, let's go for the blue first. So we're going to take a little bit of this here, a little bit more of the actual blue. Take some more of this money bin white. Yeah, we might as well just finish this with pad white off. Some water in there. And that is a perfect cartoon sky blue. That is cartoon sky blue. So let's go ahead and put our scratch pad behind here, just so we can get a little workspace. That is cartoon sky blue. That is great. You know what? Let's do it. Let's go ahead and take it right up to the edge. And we will define that edge with our outline. Again, goes against some of the cartoon aesthetic, but fits in with the comics. That's fine. I have a little bit in the cloud there. We're just taking the edge and putting it right up against there and just taking a little bite out. Between bite and out. Bite down and out. Bite down and out. Okay, so we're getting closer to a picture. Get a little bit, make this nice and watery. Thin. Oh, I like that. Picking up some of the darker paint that's farther back on the brush, letting that come through. I want to lay it down a little bit like that. See that? It's getting into our clouds, which again is fine because we are going to take care of that. Right now, we are just trying to, again, soften those lines. No harm if that gets onto our little light box here, because we do have the press and seal on top of it. Just a little bit of plastic wrap to protect the light box. But hey, why do you need a light box for this? I don't. I like it. I feel like it helps. So if I get some sort of psychological advantage from it, I'm fine. If it's not real, that's fine too. We'll take any advantage we can get, real or perceived. Trying to soften up those brush strokes and that edge. A little bit more water to help break it up some. That approaches the clouds. Perfect. Now here is a judgment call. Do I butt right up against the red cap? Or do I leave some white space? A little halo effect, if you will. I'm saying if you will a lot. I don't need your approval. I don't need your authorization for a turn of phrase. Say, if I will. In this case, I absolutely will. That was dope. That little straight line I got in there was pretty cool for me. There we go. Again, starting to come together. I need to put some more shading on the grass. Let's do some clouds here first. And we'll start getting into some of the blacks. Not all of it. Now, this cloud white, I'm going to get a little bit of that blue in there. Let's see what it looks like. But hey, why bother doing any at all when on your Blanca you just left it white Ah, crud. There we go. That's a lesson in oopsies. Then put some blue in it. Well, the answer is, I'm going to try something new. Back off, bro. Trying to learn. Not everything is going to be a masterpiece, and everything is a masterpiece in its own way. I'm going to need to come back through and definitely hit this with the eraser. But, okay, so let's, what do we have on here? Not really coming in with much of a plan here on the grass. Just want to get it so it's not so flat, you know? Well, the shape of it is very round. I'm talking about the colors. Little dry brush green. All right, so let's start defining. So the green is fine if it's in the color here, because I'm going to go black, and this black does go dark. All right, loosen up there. Come on, get some water on you. Trying to get some fine line control. That was not fine enough in either case. Oh, that was unpleasant. This is far too thick. So it's a bit hard to correct at this point. So now it's something we've got to lean into. A little bit rougher lines. And what we were originally wanting to go for. May need to go with some pen lines rather than just pure paint, because we are in a little bit of a mess. There is a stray single hair at the tip of that brush. It's thrown me off a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and slow things down considerably. Let's go Eeyore with it. That was a good line. Didn't mind that one. Seriously, that one stray hair is going to drive me nuts. Really probably should trim it. For now, we're gonna go with the rough outline. Hey, bud.
I have 2 cookies.
You can have 2 cookies. You happy about that?
Yes.
Did you like those maple cookies we had the other day? Some true Canadian maple cookies. I need to start pulling up a little bit to thin that line. That's actually starting to look pretty good. I can dig that. And we will do the sideline. Come along. All right. Now here's going to be a challenge. I'm trying to learn line control. Might as well do some fine line work, right? Might as well do a little bit I was afraid of that. Thought I could get away with it. I was wrong. That damn hair. God damn it. I have to trim this damn brush. Or find one of the other ones. Well, let's thin that out a little bit. Thank you. And if you listen to your own instincts as opposed to trying to push your luck, you might actually have better luck. A little bit rough, I gotta tell you. Not our finest hour. But I am happy nonetheless. I am learning, and I will still have a painting of the money bin. Maybe this is just my first painting of the money bin. There'll be plenty of opportunities for other different money bins in the future. The money bin has been broken many times and probably rebuilt over the years. And how it's probably had to be rebuilt simply to accommodate more of Scrooge's hoarded wealth. You know, it's hard to be for the people, and one of your favorite characters is literally hoarding wealth. But at least he is not Glomgold. Who is rich and pretty racist. At least we're not getting any new strips with Bombi the Zombie. Those were definitely of their time. Oh, a little fly. Please go away. It's looking a little bit more like a cartoon money bin. We need some more shading down there. And I need a color for the path. Do I want to do anything? Yeah, we're not done with this guy. That may be pen work up there. Yep, if we're going to outline things, we're going to outline things. So let's go down to the bottom here as well. A little shape to our bushes. That's coming along. We'll probably shade that some more. Yes. And again, the walkway. What are we going to do with the walkway? Let's make it a little bit. Yeah, let's go for the brown. We've got brown. So let's go heavier on the brown, lighter on the yellow. We don't steal anything. Yes, perfect, perfect, perfect. And we don't steal anything from the money bin, from the dollar sign, but we still have good color. Let's start where we have a bit more precision to worry about. Then we'll get a fatter brush to get more detail. Down the path. Be a little bit quick here because my brush strokes are coming in and away from the path border, so I can be a little bit quick with that. Yeah, it's come along nicely. This may not be perfect, but it's working out okay. This one wants to come back a little bit the other way. Yeah, following the natural curve of my wrist. Letting it bring that brush up and in. And I don't think we even need a fat brush. Let's just kind of bring it down. Just bring it down. Up and down. Just like the Vingo boys taught you. Or those, everything I needed to know in life I learned in kindergarten, books and t-shirts and everything else where they had for a while. I'm going to do one. Everything I needed to know in life I learned from the Vingo boys. Ask not for whom the Vingo voice is coming. The Vingo bus is coming for you. Alright, so now we can get back in with our black outline brush. Get some of the weight off of it. Maybe get some thickness back to it. Okay, so again, we'll follow our natural wrist and elbow arc. Like having that little thickness on the brush helps. Follow the elbow. All right, we need to get some darkness because that's gray. We want black, not gray. That's actually helping a lot. Will it make it a masterpiece? Well, it's our little masterpiece, isn't it? That's how we're going to treat this one. We love all of our children equally. Actually, does help a lot, actually. Actually. Put a little bit of darkness. Making those gray lines nice, darker black. And that actually helps the face of the money bin here pop. That's coming along. All right, so we want to do cloud outlines. Not yet. You know what? I think we might have to go. Where are you? Up here for this, we're going to go with pen. Will it do much better? No guarantees. That's pretty good. All right, so let me hit the clouds with some eraser. Maybe those big gummy erasers. You know? Let's take our color bleed out. Yeah, that was what I'm afraid of. The lines are under the paint. So these are not going to come out. This one maybe has a little bit more luck. That's good to know. Maybe something I can do in the future. Paint or do the original sketch a lot darker underneath. And then I might be able to use the light box to paint through the page. You know what I'm saying? And draw on the back side of the image and have the light shine through. At this point, we've got to kind of go with it. Life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg. Race cars, lasers, aeroplanes. It's a duck blur. Might solve the mystery or rewrite history. The DuckTales. Ooh. I don't really know what I'm thinking with this particular approach to the clouds, but it's something that we're trying. Once we started, there's no use crying. What to do, just hang on to some DuckTales. Ooh. Ooh, did not get all the color out of that one or something? See some yellow. We don't want that. We just want the blue. Definitely messed up on our clouds. Looks alright in that view. Not great. Again, let's do some more polish around the black lines. That actually is a big help already. Not perfect, but I only, hit around the corners of the windows. Polish those up a little bit. Yeah, that's fine. That helps. Do we want to add some more shadow? A little bit darker blue back there. Dare we push it? I think we should. A little bit. Let's see. How do we want to approach it? Let's get a little bit of, yeah. Let's just fill it in, and then we'll spread it. We might be going down a dangerous path. But it is the path we're on. Actually does help. So let's gonna get the green out of our color spreader brush. Go wet into slightly darker blue. Looks better in the shot than it does maybe in real life. Turn that off so I can try and pinpoint some of the remaining pencil lines. Having difficulty getting them all to actually come off though, even though there's not paint on those sections. Nonetheless, I'll call that a money bin with some cartoon clouds. Now, damn it, it doesn't... Now, it fades into the sky a bit too much. We may be overworking it. Damn, we're going to have to polish that line twice. You know what? I've got to let it go before I do more damage. Man, I am tempted to hit the clouds. And look at it again in the picture here. You know what? What I'm going to do to make it, I'm going to increase the thickness of that black back line. That's fine. Oh, and I didn't finish the hill. See? This will all help a ton. That helps. That actually does help a lot. Go around the top corner. Yeah. 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 That helps a little. All right. We're going to call that one. Put our little signature at the bottom. So there we go. Hold still. A money bin. Reasonable. Not fantastic, but I'll accept it. I could put that with my Uncle Scrooge wall. You know, I'm going to actually extend this off the page a little bit better. There we go. That helps. Make all of our, darn it, lines a little bit thicker. And that'll do it. So he will go with this weekend's other piece. So we've got a mad ball and a money bin. Our next piece that we're probably going to work on is going to be an Audrey II. I don't really know how to do the neck very well, the stalk, if you will. Again, if you will. But I'm going to be excited. This will be a lot of green and some yellows and some whites and reds, a little bit of purple for the tongue. So do I want to go ahead and dive in? I'll sketch some more until I can feel comfortable with it. So with everything else, I am looking at reference because I just need to know what the hell I'm drawing. I do have a ton of Audrey II material because I have a ton of, there we go, Little Shop of Horrors trading cards. I bought a whole box Little Shop trading cards. You can't really see as much of the stalk in some of these. So if you feed me Simone, I will grow up big and strong. You know what? I will actually go with that. I'll put that stalk, that tentacle, whatever you want to call it, coming out over that big leaf. That will help cover some of it. Come on, come on. Sure looks like some plant food to me. Now this one will be a challenge. Yeah, a lot of purple in the mouth. Light coming from there. So let's, you know, if this is going to be in Mushnick's shop, I actually just had it as a light line, but we could actually have that as a perspective line. So, you know, you can see the little bit of line behind here is kind of, how do I want to do that? With that, we can have plant stuff growing all over the walls too. There's the pot. All right, well, while we're here, got nothing else to do, let's go ahead and get to supper time. Do a double feature here. Gonna need some purple, but we'll get to that in a minute here. Let's go ahead and put the purple out there because we want that, so we don't forget it. Purple typically goes near the black, but we'll put it in its own little pod for now. We need some red. Yeah, we got most of what we need. So let's go ahead and just fill in some, we need some more of that light green, aren't we? double feature here. Now this will be a challenge because we're going to try and do color differentiation. There's going to be a lot of green. It's almost white there. He's almost right there, pardon me. Get the basic shape going. Because if you feed me Simone. Now, you know, I wish maybe if this wasn't being streamed, I'd probably be listening to the music right now. I'm not the world's biggest fan of musicals, that's for sure, but I have to admit, Levi Stubbs? Did a great job with Audrey, just as he did with Mother Brain. It's amazing how they just, you know, didn't even hardly make him change the voice at all between the two. They're like, yes, we just want Mother Brain to sound like Audrey II. He's like, okay, I can do that voice all night long. You got to feed me, Simone. Now I'm gonna start singing a whole lot. This is so fun. I'm really enjoying painting. I have to admit, I'm having so much fun. Just experimenting and learning and ending up with stuff that I'm actually pretty proud of, and would be happy to display in my own home. Shout out to Raven from Raven's Dojo, and to James Ilmasis of Scroll Boss. I appreciate them. You know, I posted that Hornhead last night, and they both commented on it, and, you know, said, you know, good job, be proud, and it meant a lot coming from those guys, because I really do think they do fantastic work. Their stuff is very different, of course, but I follow their multiple accounts from multiple accounts of my own, because I like their stuff so much. So we're going to get some darker leaves for the bigger pieces. There are a lot of great artists on Twitter and Instagram and everywhere else, and it's hard to follow them all. I actually, you know, people might tell me I'm using Twitter somewhat wrong, because I hit a limit. They said, you are following too many people. There's a limit of like 5,000 for an account like yours, which, you know, I took as puny nobody account. And so if I want to follow new people, I need to unfollow. So I've been having to trim a little bit out of the people who I've followed in the past. You know, thankfully I've been able to see that some of the accounts have just gone somewhat dormant, and so I'm like, I don't feel bad for dropping them. But like everyone I followed for a reason, and I don't want to unfollow them if I don't have to. I want to follow all of these great pixel artists, traditional artists. Ryan Gonzalez. I love her stuff. Love the authors that I follow. I'm glad. I hope it doesn't, come back to bite his ass. I'm glad that Musk did not end up buying Twitter, because I like it as it is. I like the people I can see. I admit that I am probably a bit insulated from some of the negative aspects of Twitter due to my identity. And again, being a nobody. But all of the good things about it, I really do appreciate. Cause if you feed me Seymour, I will cause a global plant apocalypse. One of the questions I've had, just for myself really, about Little Shop was Audrey an accident? The plant's arrival on our planet? Or an invasion? Because it happened during a Flash Gordon style unprecedented solar eclipse. Just for a minute, and the plant appeared at the plant shop in Chinatown. So that leads me to think that it was an invasion, especially if you go by the original ending of the film, where, they do destroy humanity. But I always wonder, when you get to global, take everything over and eat everyone style invasions, what happens when you've eaten everything? And maybe that's what happened with the previous planet, that they consumed all suitable sources of meat, and so they spun off a spore or whatever, sent that out into the cosmos randomly, Jor-El style, and it just so happened that Earth was a suitable planet. That's one possible interpretation. It could have been a truly planned invasion where they knew exactly where they were sending the plant that would eventually be known as Audrey II. I'm going to keep calling it a plant, even though that may not be the appropriate appellation for whatever form of life Audrey and its people are. if you feel me sing wrong. Come along. Come on, come on. Right now I was kind of filling in dark space. To accommodate the cover-up piece of things, I suppose, if you will. All right. Let's take one of our fine brushes. Excuse me. Start getting into some tentacles. We just watched the movie recently with the kids. They were hesitant at first, but really liked it once they got into it. They had some questions. My wife had forgotten some of the more risque content, if you will. Again, I say if you will. I need to work on that, get that a bit out of my standard vocabulary and get more to more certain and confident language. Lighter green. That last tentacle came out way too dark. I'm mean green, mother from outer space, and I am bad. Agreed. Coming along. And talking head style, you may ask yourself, why do you choose the subjects that you do? Now, the first answer is because I'm a great big nerd. But that is not, fully conclusive, because there's a lot of nerd stuff from which to pick. Why these things in particular? Well, I like these characters and these subjects in particular. Pleasant memories and all that. Some part of it is I'm looking for a particular kind of challenge or something I want to learn from the painting. Do I want to work on color? Do I want to work on line control? Do I want to work on composition? Do I want to work on light and shading. All those factor into it, but primarily it's, is this something that I would like to have in my house? Would I hang this up in my own living room or my game room or wherever? And so far, yeah, I would. Everything that I've done so far would be a welcome addition to my art collection, which makes me really happy to know that I can make the art that I want to have. It's not always going to be as good, as technically competent as some of the folks that I follow, of course. But I'm glad to have it nonetheless. Soften those a little bit, come on. I will grow up big and strong. Get some more fill. Looking good. Now the purple part, the purple and the pink. Oh, let's go ahead and do the pot first. Smoky Mac pot. We've outgrown the Maxwell House can. Let's soften this little piece up here. Come on. Sorry, don't mean to keep putting my shoulder in the view there. A little red. Get some red here. Nice terracotta. Perfect. Didn't really put the rest of the pot over here. I'm thinking about how far the... Yeah, I did. There it is. It's back in there. Alright, so maybe a bit small. Hey. Audrey's a growing plant. Again, I apologize. I need to move my camera, I guess, because I keep putting my shoulder in the way. All right, so how do we get a nice soft pink? Go back to the white. There's the purple. And the pink. So we know how to get a pink. Will we be successful? Is the question. The thing with this is it does have to bleed a little bit. This isn't a purely discrete lip. See, it goes actually in to the face itself, the watermelon, I guess I'll call it. It too will have highlights and shadows, as most things do when they exist in shadows and light. What we got, number one, son? As if you feed me, Seymour.
I hate that. That's actually pretty good.
I will grow up big and strong. What you got Sissy's iPad for?
Sutton, say hi.
Sweeton! Hola, Sweeton! Some purple and some white. Not really sure what I'm going to do here on the inside of the mouth. I'm going to get some baseline purple in here. And come back in and do a lot of darkening. But here is the beginning of the tongue. Pink again. Just be patient, son.
I don't know.
Damn, I didn't mean to color those together yet. It's going across. It's come through.
I'm eating this. What is it? It's black, so what is it? It's a blackberry? Yeah.
There we go. Coming along. Pot might be too small. Might need to bring the pot around. Let's go ahead and get our, we're going to come in early with some fine line. But we have some green in it. That is just fine.
I'm about to do an unboxing of a bunch of Domini from the Dominus egg. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna open it and see what I get. I get Empress. Great. Frigius.
I'll need to definitely fill in some more green back there.
Imperious. Finally.
I'm a mean green mother from outer space, and I'm bad. Yes, you are, Audrey. Now, do these creatures have their own identities? Do they have names? Do they have separate consciousnesses? Or is it not a hive mind, but a collective organism?
I'm gonna attack you with my army. My army is super cool. My army's not that long, but I have like 9 behind me, and they're just like, put. They're all following me. Attack!
Sorry, I'm kind of focusing on the details here and not talking as much. I'm trying to make sure I get a good balance of light, shading, detail, and still determining a fair amount of the design, which hasn't been fully locked down yet. trying to focus on getting some lines.
Wait, should I go get my switch? No. Okay. Now go on the type some X.
What's wrong with X Simulator? I'm still on Simulator X.
Pet
There we go.
Simulator X is what I'm in. I'm in Pet Simulator X.
Trying to get the
What is